Let's start with, the world doesn't care if you are suffering. I know. It's a harsh truth. It's the kind of truth you don't put on a greeting card. But at the end of the day, no one actually cares if you're suffering or what you're going through. Okay, maybe your family and friends care. Maybe. Assuming you haven't exhausted their empathy reserves by complaining about the same exact thing for the last 6 months. We are all so incredibly busy living our own lives, being spectacular narcissists, and posting our highly curated, filtered realities on social media that, to be perfectly honest, no one has the bandwidth to care about your tragedy. Everybody is the tragic hero of their own movie, which makes everyone else just an extra. And let's face it, nobody stops production because an extra twisted an ankle. Could we be any more self-absorbed? You're sitting there, bleeding from your soul, waiting for the universe to hand you a warm blanket, and some guy next to you is asking you to move so he can get better lighting for his TikTok dance. So, let's run a diagnostic on your situation. Symptoms: you feel alone, misunderstood, and in pain. Diagnosis: you are a human being on Earth. Treatment: accept that the universe doesn't have a complaint department. If you don't believe me, let's consult the specialists. The philosophers. The guys who basically invented overthinking and depression before Wi-Fi was even a thing. Act 1. The French guy and the cosmic. Read receipt. Let's start with Albert Camus. Camus looked at the human condition and came up with a concept called the absurd. What is the absurd? It's the profound, incredibly awkward friction between our desperate, screaming human need for meaning and the cold, unreasonable silence of the universe. You stand on the edge of a cliff and yell into the cosmos, "Why is this happening to me?" And the cosmos essentially leaves you on read. It doesn't even send the 3 little typing dots. Just nothing. Expecting the world to care about your suffering is like expecting a tapeworm to apologize for a stomachache. It's a category error. The universe is composed of dark matter, expanding gases, and a lot of empty space. It doesn't possess the necessary organs to give a damn about your breakup or your career crisis. Act 2. The King of Buzzkills. If Camus is the guy who tells you the universe is ignoring you, Arthur Schopenhauer is the guy who tells you you're an idiot for expecting anything else. Schopenhauer was the ultimate pessimist. If he were a doctor, his bedside manner would just be handing you a shovel. He argued that the core of our existence is the will, a blind, restless, irrational force that drives us to constantly want things. And because we are constantly wanting, we are constantly suffering. As soon as you get what you want, you get bored, and then you want something else. According to Schopenhauer, life is just a pendulum swinging between pain and boredom. That's it. That's the whole ride. You're either miserable because you don't have the thing, or you're bored because you got the thing. So, when you look around and wonder why people aren't rushing to comfort you, remember Schopenhauer. They are trapped on their own pendulums. They are too busy dealing with their own chronic condition, which is existence, to worry about yours. Complaining to them is like a drowning man complaining to another drowning man that the water is too wet. Act 3. Hell is other people's feeds. Now, let's talk about the narcissism you mentioned. Social media. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously wrote, "Hell is other people." He didn't mean that other people are going to poke you with pitchforks. He meant that the way other people perceive us strips us of our freedom. Their gaze turns us into objects. But if Sartre were alive today, he'd probably revise it. Today, hell isn't just other people. Hell is other people's feeds. Could there be a worse place to seek validation? You post a vague, depressing lyric on your story, hoping, praying someone will slide into your DMs and say, "Hey, are you okay?" But they don't, because they are too busy taking an online quiz to find out which type of garlic bread matches their personality. We have engineered a society where everyone is constantly broadcasting, but absolutely no one is receiving. We are a planet of 8 billion radios transmitting on different frequencies, all wondering why there's so much static. Act 4. The prescription. So, what's the cure? If the universe is indifferent, if Schopenhauer says pain is the default setting, and if everyone else is too busy taking selfies to care about your misery, what do? You call in Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche had a magnificent moustache and zero patience for whining. He gave us the concept of amor fati, a love of one's fate. He famously said, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, "To survive is to get enough sympathy likes on Facebook." He didn't say, "To survive is to wait for someone to come fix it." No. Nietzsche's prescription is brutal, but it works. Since nobody else cares about your suffering, you are entirely responsible for it. You have to take your misery, toss it into a blender, and drink it like a terrible, existential protein shake. You don't just accept your pain, you use it. You forge it into something useful. You become what he called the Übermensch, someone who overcomes themselves. Because here is the beautiful, terrifying flip side to the harsh truth you started with. If no one cares about your suffering, then you are completely free. Think about it. If the world was watching you, if everyone was deeply invested in your pain, you'd have to perform for them. You'd have to play the role of the tragic victim perfectly. You'd be trapped by their pity. But they aren't watching. The universe's waiting room is empty. The doctor is out. You are off the hook. You don't need their permission to hurt. And more importantly, you don't need their permission to heal. You can just get up, walk out of the clinic, and get on with the incredibly absurd, painful, and occasionally hilarious business of being alive. So, the world doesn't care. Good. Let them eat their avocado toast. You have a life to live. And maybe, just maybe, this is the exact freedom that you actually want. Because, let's be brutally honest, in 100 years, absolutely no one is going to have a clue who you were anyway.